Welcome to Mornings with Patricia. Happy Thursday. Today I want to talk about everyday mysticism and give you some examples of what I'm talking about and how I use that in my daily life, and so it might be helpful for you. A really not probably well-known book, uh, but a book that was published. Gosh, maybe it was. Let's see, when was it published? Uh, 1988. It's called The Art of the Mystic, and the Master Course in Spiritual and Psychic Development by the Centaur, or Thomas P. Kearns is his legal name. There you go. So he is actually sharing the work of Reverend Harry Bender. That's what Reverend Harry Bender looks like. He was a spiritualist, well known for his psychic and spiritual development work and classes, especially on the East Coast in New York and places like that. So this is really good. I'm going to read some of the titles to you, or the chapters to you, so you can just kind of think about if you want to get it or not. So each chapter has a story with it, like a real life example. So who we are and where we came from. Chapter 2, Sons of Man, Sons of God. Chapter 3, Bugaboos, Fears, Apples, and Spirit Contact. Number 4, Astral Projection. Number 5, The Law of Love and the Law of Karma. 6, Physical Phenomena. 7, Psychometry. 8, Dowsing. 9, The Psychic Centers. And 10, The Magic Ball of Satisfaction. So, if you've been in the work for a long time, you'll know some of this. You actually might know a lot of this that's in the book, but it's a wonderful review, and there are some things you probably haven't been aware of. And for those of you who are just kind of starting or like to dabble, this is wonderful. It's a wonderful book, and it takes you step by step, and you get to kind of understand how the psychic and spiritual world works. So that's what I'm talking about. Dowsing. You can dowse with a pendulum. You don't have to have just rods. So there's all those sorts of things that they cover in there. But how do you apply it to your daily life? Well, one of the things that Bender talks about in there is, Bender, Harry W. Bender, it is working with spirits or the spiritual world. And he does this really interesting thing, and I've worked with it many years ago when I was given the book, and it works. That was one of the places where, I could feel them, but, it was kind of, and so, he talks about inviting them into the room and then having them do a step by step each time until they're right in front of you. And then you may see them or you may not. Depends, on if you're clairsentient, clairaudient, all these sorts of things, about this time of day is always just sitting and it's framing me. So, that's funny. So, but, one of the things that I do every day, I can't think of a day that has gone past where I haven't, and that is, I have a conversation with the spirit world. And, it's, not just what I'm going through or those sorts of things, but I'll ask, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Show me, give me people from the other side who know how to do this, and get them in my morphic field so that I know what I'm doing. And that is really powerful. Also, if you ever feel lonely, it's wonderful because you can feel them. So, they're always around, kind of, but you can invite one in, you can invite a whole room in, and have a spiritual meeting with a group. The possibilities are endless. If you're working, this is wonderful because they really can help you with some of the things that you might be going through. And they can bring in energy too, to help with, making things more peaceful. And, they're not there to take anybody's free will away. Okay. So if people don't want to be peaceful, there you have it. But they can help you set up the energy, and that is really amazing. The other thing he talks quite a bit about in here, and he gives some good stuff on astral travel. And astral travel, I mean, you probably aren't going to use that if you're working, but there are some amazing things that you can do with astral travel. You can visit other places, other people. I mean, oh, that's just in this world. You can go so many places with astral travel. Again, I think it's, if you do that already, I think you just get some confirmation of what you already do, and then you also, might get some pointers and tips. The other one on astral travel that if you're really into that, I would suggest is Robert Monroe's work. And you can look up the Monroe Institute, and I think he did 3 books, and they have his tapes and things like that. And I've talked to you before about that too. So, but psychic development, well, you know, I was rereading parts of this again, and I forget. Oh yeah, he said, I love this. I think this is just spot on. He talks about, sorry about that. He talks about how, when you look at things psychically, it's a different kind of vision, right? It's a different kind of vision or work that you're doing. Your physical eyes aren't really trained to see that. In fact, oh, I remember, he's talking about a windshield. The windshield is there to protect you from objects, to keep the rain off, to do those sorts of things, right? Keep the elements out. See, he didn't say that, but he didn't say elements, but it is, and our eyes are the same way. We're looking through these lenses, and they're trained to see physical objects, but the eyes are not really trained to see the spiritual world, and so it takes a lot of time and work. Well, time can be relative depending on where you're at, but and what your for lack of a better word, spiritual skill set is. So, and the other thing that he talks about in a way, I love this, it's about spiritual attachment. Because, in this day and age, we talk, I think, with the ghost stories and those sorts of things that are on TV, uh, we talk a lot about like evil spirits or you know, attachments, those sorts of things. And like Harry says, if there is something dark that comes to you, you are protected by your inner circle of spirits, helpers, but it's brought to you because you are able to help. You are able to help some spirit that is lost. Remember that it's the light. So I just think, with the sensationalism of all this, we get caught up and we forget what our real work here is. And it's not about thinking that spirits or ghosts are bad. Um, we tend to differentiate. We tend to say, oh, we're in human form, so we're human. But, we're spirits too. So, if you see a person in human form that needs help and seems lost, and like they come to me for spiritual counseling, I wouldn't go, oh no, you can't come see me, you're gonna get attached. So I think it's those sorts of things. I think we just need some good spiritual perspective on this. What was the other thing I wanted to talk to you about? Oh, yeah, and like psychometry. Psychometry is going into a room and feeling a wall, or, you could feel an object and you can tell something about the owner or who's been there. You get an idea. So if you're going at work and you happen to get in, going to a place, at work, like maybe a meeting room or something, you can kind of get the air that's happening in there, and from psychometrizing it, and then you can do some adjustments. So there's just so many ways to use this wonderful material in your everyday life. Um, Most of it for me, I really enjoy the spiritual connection. I like talking with the spirits, and some people can hear them as if like you can hear me, I tend to hear them mostly in my head, and I wouldn't say that they come as thoughts. I don't know how to exactly explain that because I hear them as a voice, but so it's different than when I think of thought, and that's how I know the difference. But again, you just never know. I was resting a little earlier and laying down for just a quick 20-minute nap, and they were all around me. I heard, music. I heard them talking, blah blah blah. I was in that in between state, not quite asleep, not quite awake, and it was just like it was a noisy room. And I'm like, listen, hey, hello, I'm trying to take a nap here. Can you keep it down a little bit? And then it turned off. But it's just, I mean, if you want to have those experiences and you want to enlarge your life and enlarge who you really are and come into your full being, I suggest that you think of yourself as the everyday mystic and work with everyday mysticism. So it brings a lot. It brings a lot to your life. And it opens you up and it makes you so aware of who you really are on all these different levels. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Oh my God, I love myself. I love you. Thank you for being with me today, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.